Hi, it's Charles Folkart, April 18th, 2017. This video is on my organizing and my editing or help to edit a book that is composed of men and women and children who relate their story about what the legal system did to them during their divorce. Now that's the cut to the chase version of this video. For those of you who don't like long videos, see ya. For those of you who want more information and a little background on what I have in mind here, stick around. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. There's been quite a few new subscribers. I want to welcome you. I can tell you, one fellow said, I hope this is the real thing. Buddy, if you want to find out if I'm the real thing here, it's 252 pages. You can find out all about me, my background. I also want to thank those special contributors that have supported this channel. I want to thank you very much. I have a big responsibility, which I hope I can fulfill. I got this idea quite a while ago. It's been on the back burner. But I went yesterday and had a discussion with a young man who told me he spent 7 years in prison. And they put him in solitary confinement many, many times. He had the number of days that he spent there. I mean, and don't tell me that that doesn't have an effect on a man or a woman, but it's mostly men who are put in solitary confinement. See, they get you into the divorce legal system, the growth industry, law enforcement, and the legal system, and they grind you up and they try to make it as long as possible, because the longer you're in there, the more money the system is making off of you and causing misery. Folks, I know this firsthand, and there's a lot in this book. If you're contemplating representing yourself in the legal system, this book will help you. I represented myself in a court case, but I don't want to go there. But I want to give you the background that I have, that I believe that this would be a successful book. I have ideas how we're going to operate it all, but I don't want to share it here right now. I just want to get the idea out there. Let's say we have 25 chapters, 25 chapters by men. Keep it to 3 pages each. You tell your story with the emphasis on what the legal system did to you. Women, you can do the same thing. You can tell your story. We'll have 20 or 25 chapters, 3 pages each, and we're going to keep the book short, but we also want to get in a lot of good information. We'll have a section on children. They can tell their story. And then I'll kind of do an overview, and we'll have that as one topic. I have another topic I'd like to talk about, but that'll be on a different video. So if you are of interest, if this idea is of interest to you, leave your comments below. This is not something I can do on my own, but I'm willing to put it together and share with those who contribute. You get a free book if your story is included in the book. I almost think we're going to have to charge anybody who wants their chapter in the book. That'll help pay for the cover art and the editing. I can't do everything by myself. I realize that you have to have somebody else edit your book for you. So there's going to be a fee for your chapter to be included in the book. That's just the way it is. And then you'll get a free book, so you basically get your money back, but at the end when the book is all published. So that's how I'm going to work on it right now with my ideas. Also, you can remain anonymous if you would like to. You can use a pseudonym, up to you. But we're going to put this book together, And I think we should have it done within the year, maybe sooner if we get to it. And if I get help, the more help I get, the faster it can get done. And maybe we could have the Brother Nathaniel Foundation publishing arm. Maybe he will publish our book for us. I can't think of any. Oh, I wanted to show you something here before we go. But I will tell you, you don't need to watch the video from here on out. This is just supporting evidence. I made my point on the book, but I just wanted to bring up some more evidence for you. So I lived in Southern California after my mother divorced my father. She thought she was going to have a better life living out in Southern California with us 3 boys. That's another story. I talk about that in my book. But Ronald Reagan, I remember this, they passed no-fault divorce in 1970. No-fault divorce has turned into his-fault divorce. I get into that in my book also. Let's move on. I got something else I want to show you. Okay, you notice here before the prevalence of Talmud Vision and Hollywood-controlled movies and the radio and all the other entertainment we got, the divorce rate was pretty flat. It started to rise the more TV was introduced. 1970 right here is where the no-fault insurance, no-fault divorce was introduced, which quickly became his fault. Started in California, went all across the country. Now you don't need any good reason to get a divorce. And you know what? In the scripture, in the Bible, the woman can never divorce the man. Only the man can divorce the woman. And look what's happened since we don't follow that rule anymore. I talk about it in my book. My son and I, and my daughter and I, were separated. She was 10, she was 6, he was 10. They were adopted. Their first parents, for one reason or the other, their mothers were hooked on meth. We adopted them. We were foster parents. I was a foster dad to my daughter and my son. Then we adopted them when they were younger. A few years later, when my son was 10 and my daughter was 6, my wife wants a divorce for no real reason, folks, but because she could. And so that once they get you into the system, they start to cause turmoil in the family. Instead of working with the family, making it good for everyone, they make it good for the wife. My wife got everything she wanted for it. It couldn't have been any better for her, but it couldn't have been any worse for everyone else. Alrighty. The reason I brought up that information about my son, my 10-year-old son, is that him and I had a very, very good relationship. And the ex-wife did everything she possibly could, along with the new husband, who was an instructor of law enforcement at the local community college. This is a man who's teaching other sheriffs, other law enforcement personnel, police officers, and he's the man that was now having an influence on my younger son, who at the time was only 10 years old, as I've said. That was the same age that my mother and father broke up. So, man, I did everything I possibly could to maintain a relationship with my son and my daughter, and the new husband and the new wife, with the approbation of the legal system and the sheriff's department. They did everything they can to prevent my 2 younger adopted children and I from having a relationship. The long story short is my son ended up in prison. And I heard my son tell me the few times we talked that the new husband, he beat me. So that's the kind of people we have in law enforcement, and that's what happens when you get a divorce. They get you into the system. And because they wouldn't work with us on a fair and equitable way when I tried to keep a relationship with my children, they end up oftentimes in the prison system, in the court system, and folks, that's exactly what they want. There's a lot of money being made in this corrupt, crooked, the club, I call it, and the club that you're not in. And they're using us as their cannon fodder, as their corn that's being rubbed between the mills. And just as a side note here, I'm reading this book by Victor Hugo, and it's Les Miserables. And there's a character in here called Jean Valjean. And I don't want to get into it because it'll make this a long video, but this is the same abuse and the same injustice has been going on for several hundred years, folks. This is nothing new. It's just improved on. Jean Valjean, if you don't know the story, spent 19 years eventually, and it all started with him breaking a window into a bakery and taking a loaf of bread so he could feed his brothers and sisters. So for that theft, one loaf of bread, the consequence was he spent 19 years in prison. And when he got out, boy, you think maybe he was angry? You betcha. So they have a law enforcement growth industry happening in this country. And this is how they do it. They get you into a divorce. They just passed a new increase for the legal system, for the court system here in Montana. $2.5 million is going to go to hire or employ 5 more criminals in the black robes. I tried to fight that. I went down on my own money to Missoula and gave a speech. It's on here on the video for those of you who want to know if I'm the real thing or not. See, folks, there's a growth industry in this country. Prisons, I could go to another graph, show you the prison growth. And I just ran across what happened to an older fellow here and how the highway patrolman lied. And now it's a big hassle and he's got to hire an attorney or plead guilty and just forget about it. See, folks, that's what I want to expose in this book. By putting this book together, I will be earning my living. I will be, I believe, contributing and helping other people to get their story out. And we'll try to figure out a way that everybody gets rewarded. At the very least, I can say you'll get a free book out of the deal. So I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. If you like this idea, this is going to take your involvement. Leave some comments down below. We'll see where this goes. May the grace of God, our Father, be with us as we all work together to make it through these next few years and maybe even thrive. See you.